I spent the last 24 hours absolutely glued to my phone playing Whiteout Survival. So in this video, I want to tell you everything that I learned in my first 24 hours, including a few mistakes that I made and a few things you can do to get a faster start in the game. If that's the sort of thing you're interested in, consider smashing the subscribe button, and a big thank you to the makers of Whiteout Survival for sponsoring today's video. Let's get started with some basics, a few of the buildings that are in your city, and the buildings that you're going to build very, very quickly as you start to make upgrades. The most important building is the furnace. This is going to keep your people quite literally alive as the temperature gets lower. This thing is cranking up a ton of heat so that you don't all get sick and literally the people in your city die. If you want to see how your people are doing, you can tap the little icon all the way up on top with the people's faces. You can assign people to different stations, and having them healthy rather than sick is good. In fact, I have a few extra hanging out just resting. Must be nice. They're on vacation. But the furnace is the building that you want to focus the most. It will set the maximum level of all of the other buildings in your city. It's also going to bestow a number of other upgrades, such as being able to unlock different buildings, being able to level up your heroes higher, and more. But I'm getting ahead of myself. A couple other buildings that you're going to build right away are going to be these shelters where your people are going to live and stay. It's going to include this building right over here, the cookhouse, where you're going to go in, and there's one change. It'd be very difficult to see, but if you tap the item all the way up on the left here, the stove, you see the production area over here? This changes what kind of food you're producing. Make fancy meals. Costs more, doesn't matter. Makes your people fuller for longer. Just, you sign up for that and then problems go away. Get in front of that, okay? You go in there, you make that change. You're going to get a couple other buildings, including the hunter's hut. You're going to get the coal mine, etc. Each of these buildings is producing resources for you, which is awesome. Keep in mind that your furnace is going to be using coal. Don't be like me. And in my first playthrough of this game, I had a whole bunch of people in my village die because we ran out of coal. I had no way to get more coal. So everybody just froze in the winter and got sick. It was brutal. Now, technically you can recover from that, but I leave the furnace on max power. I don't think about it. It just cooks. And by cooks, I mean keeps us all nice and toasty. Okay, now that is really the first part of your city. The second part of your city you unlock down over here, including the ability to recruit heroes from the Hall of Heroes. The lighthouse has a series of quests that are fairly intuitive. The more rare the color, so orange is the rarest, gray is the least rare, then green and blue, purple, orange, right? You're going to go and do these quests. These are really important to do. It's called Intel quests. These are important for not only the rewards, but also the more of these you do, you start to level up your searchlight, which gives you higher intelligence quality. Big win. You can see I'm 29 out of 90 missions toward the next level here. This is going to use up a resource that's very critical. It's your stamina. You regenerate this naturally over time. However, you also can have stamina. In other games, they're potions, but here we can it up, baby, like tuna. So from here, other things you're going to start to get that are important includes the infirmary. This is like your hospital in other games. When your troops get wounded, this is where they go. You're going to get troop training buildings. There's 3 types of troops. We'll talk more about them in just a bit. You also get a research center, which is very critical. You're going to get the embassy, which is where you get helps. You're going to get your command center for rallies, your storehouse, which is going to provide you random rewards periodically and also keep your resources safe. All right, so what do you need to know about these extra buildings that show up over here? I think in your first playthrough, one of the things you'll always want to do is be leveling up your embassy at every opportunity. The embassy, as I mentioned, makes it so you can get assisted by your allies, and each help you get or assist you get reduces the total amount of time to complete an upgrade. This is a pretty big deal. It's basically free-ish speed-ups. So Embassy is a great building to upgrade. It is the first thing I look to upgrade every time I go and I upgrade my furnace. The other thing that I like to do is keep my research center upgraded very, very quickly. And this is sort of a mistake that I made in my first playthrough. Let me explain. The research center has 3 different trees of technology: growth, economy, and battle. You basically can forget battle exists at the start of the game. I know that there might be some value here, but more or less forget that exists. Economy, more or less forget that exists. Growth is where it's at initially. Why is that? There are several core technologies you can research in the growth tree. First and foremost, there is construction speed. Building speed for all the stuff in your city, big one. Up next is, of course, research speed. So building and research speed, for obviously reasons, very, very critical. Camp expansion. This increases the amount of troops you can train at a time. So you can step away from the game for longer, and your troops can still just be training, rather than being done and waiting for you to take an action, right? The ward expansion increases your infirmary capacity. If your infirmary overflows, troops start to die. That is very, very bad. Bandaging is the one that you can kind of skip, in my opinion. You'll come back for it later, but this is going to give you healing speed. You're not going to need this right away. And finally, trainer tools. Trainer tools is insane. You get absolutely ridiculous amounts of troop training speed. So ideally, you're going to want to get a lot of these technologies before you do big building upgrades, before you do big research, before you train lots of troops. You're going to want to get this growth technology. In addition, I will point out, you also get extra March queues. We'll talk about March queues in just a minute here, but this research in the growth tree is critical. You can see I've really pushed pretty far, and I try to keep my building speed and research speed more or less maxed out. You can only go so far based on the level of your research center. So I push the level on my research center as I level up my furnace. And then I go and do technologies further down the tree for just building speed and research speed. And all these things, it's a little bit here and a little bit there, but it all starts to add up, all right? The other building that I really want to talk about is these troop training buildings. In this game, there's 3 types of troops. The infantry, you've also got your lancers, and you've got your marksmen, all right? And the infantry are designed to soak lots of damage. The marksmen are designed to deal lots of damage. And the lancers are sort of a hybrid of the two, although that's I think, oversimplification, to say the least. Now, as you level up your troop training buildings, not only can you train more troops, but also you unlock higher tiers of troops. So you can see here when I go to more details, the training capacity is going up. I'm also getting training speed, which is a really big deal. And if I swing on back over here, you can see that to unlock the next tier of troop, I need to get the camp higher level. The highest tier of troop available in-game, at least visible to me as a new player, is tier 10. Maybe there's some other stuff in the end game, who knows? But for now, tier 10 is the sort of early game max. I got to tier 7, which feels pretty far along, quite frankly, but you can see here, if we look at their stats, that they go up quite dramatically. So a tier 1 troop represents 3 power, 4 defense, 1 lethality, oh my gosh, and 6 health. Whereas all the way over here, right, like 12 health, 7 lethality, 28 power each, 10 defense, etc. You can see it's kind of a big deal. So you want to maintain the highest tier of troop possible in your city. Why is that? Well, you could just keep training lots and lots of new troops, but eventually if your city gets attacked, your hospital overflows, your infirmary. And if that happens, then troops start to die, which is bad. So rather than train lots of new troops, I think it's better to be upgrading your troops, okay? That would be my recommendation. Now, the final building that is in this area that I haven't actually talked about yet is the arena. And the arena is where you go and you battle against other players. What are you battling against other players with? Well, it's going to be your heroes. So now is a good time to shift gears and talk a little bit about heroes. Heroes can be upgraded a bunch of ways, starting from your very first day, although other things you're going to unlock as you level up your furnace, which is yet again another reason why pushing your furnace level is a big deal. But on a hero, you can upgrade their level. You can see that is right where the upgrade button is. It takes their level up. On every 10-ish, 5 to 10-ish levels, you get more escorts, which is pretty cool. So when you enter combat, some number of troops come with your hero. And the escorts is the number of those troops. All right. Now, there are 2 game modes technically where you can use your heroes. One with these escorts. The other is with those troops you're training in your city that I was showing you a minute ago. I'll show you the distinction in just a minute here. All right. The other way that you can enhance your hero is by increasing their sort of star level. I suppose it's the snowflake level, right? And as you do this, you can see that you're getting a ton of stats for doing that. In addition, when you hit different stars to a complete state, sometimes you unlock skills or get other benefits, which brings us to the skills on the hero. You can see there's a skills tab. Each hero has exploration skills and expedition skills. The game actually does tell you the difference when you tap the info button in the upper right. Exploration skills take place in the exploration game mode and in the arena. I was just showing you the arena, you may recall. And the expedition skills take effect when the heroes are deployed to fight in the wilderness. I'll show you the wilderness in just a minute. Skills related to city development, such as resource production, building, research, and healing, remain permanently in effect once activated, regardless of their deployment, which is really crazy. So one of the things that makes a ton of sense to do is, for example, if you were to work on Zinman, I went over here and I increased his skill that is giving me construction speed up. It's just faster to go build stuff. Seems like a win. No matter where I go, no matter what I'm doing, that is awesome. Another example over here would be Jasser. We get a look. He's got research speed boost. Wow. So there are heroes that can offer you some pretty powerful stuff with regard to passive benefits in your city. My sort of pro tip for newer players, if you're like, I have no clue what to work on, is that some of the ones they give you right away are very, very valuable. For example, Bahidi seems to be very, very good. For a frontliner, Sergei is very, very good. He's an infantry hero. And if you are spending in the game and are spending a lot, the advice tends to be that Geronimo is the GOAT. He is very, very good for an extremely long time in the game. And your alternative is going to be Natalia. Both of them are available from VIP. Some people seem to swear by Natalia for certain activities in the game as well. I don't think she lasts as long, generally speaking, but for the certain areas where she's good, she is very, very good. All right. So Natalia, Geronimo, and at the epic tier, Bahidi and also Sergei are very, very good. Obviously, the start of the game, the sort of mythic heroes are incredibly powerful. That the super rares, SSRs, Molly, super strong. All right. However, the game operates in seasons or generations, and as new generations of heroes come out when your server ages, the older heroes generally tend to get sort of outpaced by the newer heroes that are coming into the game. And I think that's very standard in this genre. All right. Now, there are, of course, even more ways to sort of maximize the punch of your heroes as you unlock more stuff. I've unlocked gear. I haven't even really done anything with it, but there's 4 gear slots on each hero, and there's also exclusive gear on the mythic heroes. This is incredibly powerful. I've actually not spent a ton of time looking into this, and at the start of the game, you really don't need to do a ton of that yet. As you play the game more and more, you start to get a sense of what you might want to do. And just to give you an example of actually upgrading on a hero here, you can see that in order to actually upgrade this frost level, I need shards of the hero. I can ascend them to do that. And that gives me the stats. It gives me some power. And yeah, there is, however, an important thing to use. And once you unlock it, the drill camp right over here is going to be really cool, because you may be thinking, I don't know which heroes to level. Great news, pick 5. The reason you pick 5 is that eventually you unlock the drill camp. And the way that the drill camp works is that it takes your 5 heroes that are the sort of highest level, and any other hero you put down over here will be automatically taken to the lowest level of these 5 heroes. So in other words, all the heroes down here are leveled up to level 46, because my lowest level hero in my collection of heroes up top is 46. So my goal is to keep pushing the level on the 5 heroes you see there, and anyone else that I want to use, I'm going to put in this drill camp or drill slot area. All right. And There is apparently a way to reset the level of a hero. I haven't ever done that. I don't know if you lose anything, but it's here. You must wait 24 hours before resetting the level of the same hero, where you can remove the cooldown with gems. Huh. Interesting. The other weirdness is that if you have someone leveled up by virtue of being in the drill camp, you can't then directly level them up more. So the only way to level up a hero that's in the drill camp is from the levels of your drill camp instructors. You can remove them later, the heroes, if you need to do something different with them, all right? So that covers the heroes, the sort of choices you'll make at the very start with those heroes. We've covered the arena, but I haven't shown you the gameplay yet. So why don't we do that? Because this arena gameplay is actually exactly the same as the exploration gameplay. And both of these are very, very important. The exploration game mode lets you get this critical item right over here. It's called steel. Steel is an extra resource. It's used in a couple places, but you should hoard up your steel specifically just to use in the research center. That's what I've been doing, and I've been very happy with that choice. So I can claim these rewards. You get passive income or passive rewards based on the level of exploration you've completed. Now, I don't know that I can actually beat this particular level, but I did unlock Geronimo since I did this, so let's give it a shot. We put Geronimo in the lineup. I've got infantry in front, and you want 2 infantry. And then I've got ranged units in the back. I've got my Molly, Bahiti, and also Zinman, all right? And so when I hit fight over here, and assuredly you have done this game mode before, you can, if you want, try to time these abilities. I run this on 2x and auto speed because I think that works just fine. My goal is to get through these levels very, very quickly because, yeah, there are a lot of them. Each level ramps up the difficulty a very, very, very small amount. And the good news is that you should try to push as far as you can through this game mode pretty much every time you remember to do it. And not only is this going to give you some critical rewards, but also this is going to increase your passive income, which is a big deal. And you see, this level was a little bit harder than the last one. Theoretically, you could put in specific heroes to counter specific things. I'm not doing anything like that. I'm just sort of smashing my way through it. For now, I'm going to return back to the city, and I'll show you the arena is basically the same thing, but against other players. So exploration is the PvE version of that. Here is the PvP version of that. So I'm going to hit challenge. I would like to avoid hitting members of my alliance if I can, but I want to hit somebody ideally who's kind of higher power. I don't really have an option to do this without hitting a friendo. That is really awkward. I mean, I could spend gems. You should not spend gems on this. I'm just going to do it because I want to avoid hitting friends. I'm just going to lose to Grumpy, aren't I? Okay, so what is he? Well, let's see what he's got. Insufficient challenge attempts. You get 5 attempts per day. You can spend gems to get more attempts. Is it worth it? Depends on if you're spending money. I have been, obviously, and I think I can take him. I don't know if I can take him. I could be wrong. The real question is Geronimo good enough? Ooh, I mean, well, I might get dunked here, but I suppose for the sake of the vid, it's way more interesting if I fight someone challenging. So I'm going to line my bear into his bear, Geronimo into his Sergei, and hope for the best. Here we go. I'm not too optimistic. Uh-oh. I think I'm cooked. Ooh, this is... Yeah, I think I'm cooked. So what you should do is not what I did here, which is attack someone where there's any chance at all of losing. Never do that. Just always attack someone where you can win, I think is the way to go. There's really no reason to attack someone like I just did, other than like, for the video, it's interesting. Unless you think you know something about how to hard counter them at the start of the game. Like, just hit the green ones, okay? I'm not ashamed to show it, but that's why you don't do that. All right. Now, if I did that again, do I get a better reward for winning? Let's find out. So, I hit gem refresh instead of extra challenges. That's awkward. Not going to edit it out of the video. We're just going to let it ride. So if I hit someone who is much easier for me to beat, and I go and beat them, is the reward better? Even if it isn't. There's a series of quests that give you rewards for winning. So like just claim wins, in my opinion, rather than take hard fights. And also, at the end of the day, yeah, I guess the rewards might have been about the same, but you do change rank. So this all matters. Why all of this, Chiscool? Because there's a shop over here. Based on your ranking, you get this currency. And I'm told pretty much the one and only thing to get from this is the custom mythic hero gear chest. That's like the big chase. All right? So that's what you should be going for from here. Which brings us, I think, to the world now. So you are, as you're building up, going to be able to join an alliance. This is critical to your progress. As I mentioned, people help you, and it reduces the time to build stuff or research stuff or heal your troops. In addition, I think I can research some technology very soon for my alliance. Very poggers. There is alliance technology that can dramatically enhance your ability to get stuff done, including building and research speed. Okay, very important. In addition, when you go out into the world, you're going to want to be a part of an alliance. You're going to want to be on your alliance's territory, where you get some gathering speed boosts and some stat boosts. But also, your alliance is going to work to get a series of different objectives that also are going to give you even more stats. So not only is it way more fun to be playing with a bunch of other people, but also, as you go and you work as a team, you're going to take down some of these objectives, as well as a bunch of other events that you do with your alliance that give you rewards, bonuses, and buffs. Kind of the whole point of the game is to get into an alliance, quite frankly, and to enjoy the people that you play with. So when you're in an alliance, there's a couple things that will keep you in that alliance. And the first thing I want to talk about is donating to technology. If your alliance leader is at all paying attention, they're going to be able to look at a report to see how much you've donated. I, as the leader of this alliance, do exactly that. And the people that are low on donations and have been offline for a long time, I kick them out. And I will point out that, like, if you want to do well at the start of a new game, like, who are we kidding? Like, you need to be online all the time for the first couple days if you want to be in a top alliance, all right? So while you're there, you're going to donate with resources to the recommended alliance technology. You're going to be smashing help a whole heck of a lot to help out your alliance. You're going to be enjoying the benefit of other people doing that same thing for you. And there will be a series of events, as I mentioned, that are going to show up really, really quickly. You can see Gina's Revenge coming very, very soon. I'll make a separate video about this. This is how you're going to grind out a ton of Gina's shards, which, yeah, an epic hero for free. Seems good. All right. So back to the world. In the world, there are several things you will be doing. One is spending your stamina, which we talked about earlier. In this game, is it actually called stamina? Yes, chief stamina. Good. And the other thing you will be doing is gathering resources. So there's lots of different size resource nodes that are out in the world. There's a concentration of better resources around some of the bigger structures, it seems. So you're going to send out troops, they're going to go and gather, and then they're going to come home with resources, which not only is a part of the sort of daily quests, but also you're going to need those resources to be doing all your upgrades. Now, I've got my troops at a bunch of different resource nodes. One of those troops is actually returning right now. I need to go address that. But if I had more troops and I was paying more attention, the thing you're going to want to do is push that up arrow in the upper left, right underneath my little profile picture. You swing on over to growth, and you want to use a gathering speed boost. I'm not using a gathering speed boost right now because I'm about to have company over for the holidays, about to serve a rib roast, pretty exciting. But anyways, like, Christmas is right around the corner. It's a busy time. So I'm checking in, but for a while I'm not going to be able to check in as much. It's fine. The point I'm trying to make is that you almost certainly want one of these gathering speed boosts running if you can actually pay attention to your gatherers, because what are we talking about? 100% faster gathering speed is just straight value. In fact, yeah, I'm in. Maybe I should just pop one anyways, even though I'm going to be disappearing for just a little bit. All right, now, other things to keep in mind out in the world is that this is where you see other player cities. The losses for attacking a player city are pretty dang steep, but some players are under their new player protection still, or you can activate a peace shield, and that keeps your city safe. But once your city has leveled up a certain amount, you are no longer safe, and your peace shield is no longer there. So you can see I don't have one of those. I can be attacked quite literally any time by anyone. And most servers will have agreements about who isn't or is going to attack each other, which is why it's so critical you get into a top tier alliance. So let's talk briefly about how you get into that top tier alliance. I think the most important thing to do at the start of the game is push your power. I understand that some people want to save for events, and I got a message from a guy. He was like, trust me, bro, I'm going to gain so much power in one of these upcoming events. I was like, I'm sure you will, but until you've done it, I don't believe it. And that's the thing is like, if you're an alliance leader and you're deciding who to take in your alliance, like, do you take the word of someone who is low power and says, oh, pick me? Or do you take someone who's actually already demonstrated that they're gaining power? You take the person who's gaining power. And failing any other indicators, which there aren't any at the start of the game, really, like power is the only thing that really kind of signals who's on their way to an alliance. So you want to gain as much power as you possibly can, as fast as you can, so that you can get into a good alliance, and getting into a good alliance bestows many benefits. One of the ways that you will gain lots of power is if you decide to use the shop. There are a lot of things that you can go and buy, including a bunch of deals at the start and bonuses for making purchases. What I want to say about this at this stage is that I tend to go for the things that are the highest value. So on this account, I've spent about $500 so far. And that includes things like the daily deals, the weekly and monthly cards. I totally get that the percentage-based value is not really the most sophisticated way to assess whether or not a bundle is good for you. But when you're a new player and you don't really know what you're doing, it's an okay starting point. Later on, you'll know what you need, and if you're spending, you go for what you need. And this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. But as always, consider your life priorities before you spend money in a mobile game. I spend disposable income in mobile games, and I've turned that into a career, making videos on YouTube full time. But anyways, aiming for the things that have a higher percent value is almost certainly the way to go. But as I said, keep in mind what you're trying to do. So the top pack is, 2,200% value, but am I trying to work on Molly, or am I trying to get speed ups from the fast development pack to progress my account? I think fast development is actually the better play for me at this moment in time, because the speed ups would do more for me. Okay. Now these packs right over here refresh on a regular basis. They've got the timer on them for how frequently they refresh. And the ones that don't refresh, that are static, they don't have a timer on them. There's also this Dawn Fund, which is basically related to your furnace getting leveled up. You get a bunch of different rewards. I have this running. There's like a $20 tier for the epic tier. I think that was super high value, right? So there's a couple places that you'll get value like this. There's pop-up bundles, which are generally high value relative to the other ones. And they'll tell you that, these limited time offers, right? Oh, well. Speaking of which, I didn't even know I had that waiting for me. Okay, well, I might just pick this up. I can decide later. I probably will get this. Now, as you buy these bundles, you're going to notice you get this thing called VIP. What is VIP and what do you do with it? It's a series of perks that you get that includes stats, daily bundle benefits, access to be able to buy packs with special heroes like Geronimo, or you get Natalia over here at the lower levels of VIP. You also gain access to a VIP shop. There's a lot of stuff you can get in this shop. I'll be honest, I'm still figuring out where really I want to be spending my gems, okay? But there's a lot of stuff in here that looks really, really compelling. The biggest thing to hunt for from VIP, in my opinion, is things like the extra March queue. You can see here that I got more construction speed boost at VIP 4. 10% construction speed boost is crazy. You get another 10% construction speed boost at, let's see here, VIP 9. Pretty rough to get all the way to 9, but hey, more power to you if you can do it, okay? And your VIP boost needs to actually be active in order to get the benefits of this. So there's a bunch of conditions that you have to ultimately meet. However, VIP is a nice reward if you're spending, or is something to very strategically unlock with your gems if you are a low spender or free to play. Wow. So we have covered a ton of stuff here. We've covered deals, we've covered basic city layouts and the things that's in your city. We've covered some of the base gameplay, ways that you can get value. There's honestly an astonishing amount to cover about this game, which is why I've made this channel, which is going to be dedicated to Whiteout Survival. So a big thank you to the makers of Whiteout Survival for sponsoring today's video. You can use the link in the description to download the game if you'd like, which would support my channel. I appreciate that. And if you're looking for the live stream where I did this exact start, I'll have a card in the end screen over here. I did this on my other channel, so be sure to subscribe to this one. But my other channel, I cover city building war games. I've got almost 250,000 subscribers over there. I live streamed for like 6 hours, so a ton of how I got to this state is all in that stream. But the dedicated videos are going to be on this channel. So subscribe. And you can join my Whiteout Survival Discord server as well, linked in the description. Until next time, you have fun smashing your enemies. Take care, everybody.